My name is Jason Riley, and I've spent 22 years as a United States Marine. I've served in places most people can't pronounce, done things I don't talk about, and come home with a chest full of ribbons and a head full of memories I'd rather forget. When I finally retired, all I wanted was quiet. A little ranch house on a cul-de-sac in Willow Creek Estates, a yard for my 10-year-old daughter Emily to play in, and maybe a grill that didn't get sand in it every time the wind blew. Willow Creek Estates came with an HOA, of course. Every subdivision in Central Texas seems to. I figured I'd mow the lawn on time, keep the trash cans out of sight, and everybody would leave us alone. I was wrong. The trouble started small. A letter about the color of our mailbox post being driftwood gray instead of approved weathered cedar. Then a warning about Emily's chalk drawings on the sidewalk. Temporary art is still considered graffiti. I paid the fines, repainted the post, and told Emily to use the driveway instead. Live and let live, right? But the HOA board, led by a retired car salesman named Karen Whitlock and her vice president, a failed real estate broker named Dale Gruber, kept pushing. They drive by in Dale's white pickup with magnetic signs that read Willow Creek Compliance Patrol in official-looking blue letters. They'd take pictures of anything they didn't like. A bicycle left out overnight, a flag that was 1 inch too low on the pole, a Halloween decoration up 3 days past November 1st. Then came a night I'll never forget. It was a Thursday in early October. My wife, Sarah, was working a late shift at the hospital. Emily and I had just finished dinner, spaghetti and meatballs, her favorite, when the doorbell rang. Emily ran to answer it before I could stop her. I heard her small voice. "Daddy, there are police officers here." My blood turned to ice. I walked to the door and saw 2 men on my porch. Both wore dark tactical pants, black polo shirts with embroidered badges that said Willow Creek Security, and duty belts loaded with flashlights, radios, and what looked like real holstered handguns. One had a body camera clipped to his chest. They stood under the porch light like they owned the night. The taller one spoke first. "Sir, we're with neighborhood security. We've received complaints about unauthorized structures in your backyard." I glanced past them and saw Dale's white pickup parked at the curb, magnetic signs still on the doors, but now with added blue light bars flashing silently on the dash. Emily peeked out from behind my leg, wide-eyed. I kept my voice calm. "You're not police officers." The shorter one, some rent-a-cop I'd seen at board meetings, puffed up. "We have authority to enforce HOA covenants, sir. Step aside. We need to inspect the rear yard." Emily whispered, "Daddy, are we in trouble?" That whisper hit me like a frag blast. My little girl, who still slept with a stuffed dolphin named Bubbles, was scared because 2 grown men in fake cop costumes were on our porch acting like they could bully us in our own home. I felt something inside me shift, the same cold focus I used to get right before a night raid. I looked the taller one dead in the eye. "You have no legal authority to enter my property. You're not law enforcement. Those badges are fake. Those lights are illegal. And if you're carrying real firearms while impersonating officers, that's a felony in the state of Texas." The shorter one smirked. Big words from a guy with a non-compliant play set in his yard. They were talking about the wooden swing set I'd built for Emily's birthday. Apparently the roof pitch was 2 degrees off code. I stepped forward, closing the door slightly behind me, so Emily couldn't see if things went sideways. "Leave my property. Now." The taller one put his hand on his holster, whether for show or habit, I don't know, but the motion was enough. I spoke very quietly. "Son, I've disarmed men in 3 continents before they cleared leather. Take your hand off that weapon." His hand froze. Something in my voice must have reached him. They backed down the steps, muttering about fines and liens. The pickup rolled away, blue lights still flashing like a cheap movie prop. Emily was shaking when I closed the door. She asked if the police were going to take me away. I held her until she stopped crying, but inside I was already planning. The next morning, I started digging. First stop, the county sheriff's office. I brought photos of the truck, the uniforms, the fake badges. The deputy I spoke to, a former Marine himself, shook his head. "That's textbook impersonation, Sergeant. We've had complaints before, but the HOA claims they're just compliance officers." He gave me the case number anyway. Next, the Texas Commission on Private Security. Turns out you can't just buy a badge and a gun and call yourself security without a license. Willow Creek's patrol had none. Then I went to an HOA board meeting. The community clubhouse was packed. Karen Whitlock sat at the long table like a queen on a throne, gavel in hand. Dale stood behind her in his black polo, arms crossed. When the floor opened for homeowner comments, I stood. "Ma'am," I began, "last night 2 men in fake police uniforms came to my home and frightened my 10-year-old daughter. They drove a vehicle with illegal emergency lights and wore badges that imply law enforcement authority. I have reason to believe this violates Texas Penal Code 37.11, impersonating a public servant." The room went silent. Karen's face reddened. "Our compliance team is fully within its rights to." I slid a folder across the table. Inside were printouts of the relevant statutes, highlighted. "No, ma'am, they are not. And if it happens again, I will press charges." Dale started to bluster, but I kept going. "Furthermore, I've filed complaints with the sheriff and the state licensing board. I've also contacted every homeowner here with minor children. We're forming a group to discuss retaining counsel." A murmur went through the crowd. I could see the math happening in people's heads. Karen banged her gavel. "This meeting is adjourned." But it was too late. The seed was planted. Over the next weeks, things escalated in the best possible way. The compliance patrol truck lost its magnetic signs and blue lights overnight. Someone must have told them the sheriff was asking questions. Fines started getting reversed when people threatened legal action. Then came the annual HOA election. I didn't want the job, but enough neighbors asked that I ran for president on a simple platform. Enforce rules fairly, no more intimidation tactics, and zero tolerance for fake cops. Karen and Dale fought dirty. Anonymous letters, whispers about that angry Marine, but parents remembered men in black uniforms scaring kids at bedtime. Election night. We won every seat we ran for. The first thing the new board did was dissolve the security patrol entirely. The second was to hire a real management company that didn't think cosplay was governance. Karen moved 6 months later. Rumor was the for sale sign went up the day the sheriff served Dale with a citation for the illegal light bar. Emily still has her swing set. I repainted the mailbox whatever color I wanted. The chalk art on our driveway is now a permanent rainbow hopscotch. Sometimes when I fire up the grill on a quiet Saturday, I look at my daughter laughing with the neighbor kids and think about that night on the porch. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to lay a hand on.